Hello friends, Shayla here, and I have a different background for you guys today. I ended up getting a kind of background tapestry for some of these kind of videos that aren't necessarily fully bookish, they're just kind of geeky. I just wanted to have something nice behind me for videos like this where more of my like discussion type videos will take place and all that kind of stuff. So today we are here with my 800 subscriber / 3 years on BookTube Q&A. It's been a good like year and a half since I've done one of these on my channel. So what I've done is I've screenshot everybody who left comments on whatever platform they left them on. And because I left it open to YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. So I've got all the comments here. I've got them screenshots, so I will try to post them in. I should probably scoot to one side or the other so they have somewhere to go. But that's kind of the plan for this. Just a few basics about me, I guess, and the channel. My name is Shay. I am a happily married woman. We've been married 4 years. We've been together for 5 in January. Most of my like anime influence happened through my husband initially, and then I started to explore it on my own. So I've really only been dabbling in that for about 4.5, 5 years. And then when it comes to manga, that's something I've only delved into in the last 1.5 years. And I've started to become an avid collector and an avid lover of the manga format, as you guys have learned throughout 2018 on this channel, as I've been kind of manga crazy. All right, so first up, we've got Laura over at the Manga Hoarder here. She says, I hope I'm not too late. Questions. Which is your favorite classic novel? Right now, that is Persuasion by Jane Austen. I really am just all about that angsty, slow build romance in that one. It just really gets along with me. It's not for everybody, and I firmly believe that the most beautiful love letter ever written in literature is the letter at the end of Persuasion. So there's that for you. Let's see. What is your favorite cartoon series as a child? That tended to fluctuate quite a bit. I watched a lot. Probably anything you could find on Nickelodeon or the Disney Channel, honestly. I was very much a TV cartoon kid, and you know, I don't feel like I missed out on anything necessarily in my growing up years. I would say I was like 8-ish before I really became super bookish, but before then, it was just all about the TV, and it was great. Had a good time, watched lots of good stuff. So anything that was on Nickelodeon or Disney Channel between like 85 and 95, well, probably like 87 to 95 is fair game. Cami over at Cami's Corner, she said, what was your greatest moment of 2018? Oh, greatest moment. I don't know, honestly. I'm very proud of what's going on in my salon right now. This was kind of a rebuilding year. We're still rebuilding, if I'm honest. But I feel like we made a lot of progress in 2018 towards long-term goals, which is great. And outside of that, I think just keeping my anxiety in check. In 2017, my anxiety was all over the place, even though I was medicated and going to therapy and all that jazz. In 2018, I felt like I kept most of my anxiety pretty under control and in a reasonable place. So I think that's probably the other thing I'd be most proud of. Her next question is, what are you most looking forward to in the new year? I have a whole video talking about 2019 and what I'm looking forward to. I think the biggest thing that I'm excited to be working on is my self-care. My self-care has really gone down the tubes the last couple years while I've been dealing with my depression and anxiety stuff. But now that that's all kind of balanced out and a little more in control, I'm really excited to take better care of myself. And I'm not talking just about the treat yourself kind of self-care. I'm talking about the hard stuff, eating good, going to the gym, like literally taking care of my body. Because I've not been very good at that. Let's see. And the other question was, do you have any channel changes for the new year? Again, consult my 2019 video. Because that's where you're going to get all of that kind of info. All right, so next up we have Lindsay Tutt, and it says, Merry Christmas, Shay. I hope you have a great one. You know me, I'm the cat lover. Can you tell us the names and ages of your cats? Bonus points if you can get them in the video with you. They're napping, so I'm not going to wake them up. But I have my black tuxedo cat. His name is Kaladin. Yes, as in Kaladin from the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. And my brown tabby is Light Song, again named for the Brandon Sanderson character in the book Warbreaker. We each took our favorite Sanderson novel and chose our favorite character. Thankfully for us, their personalities really match the characters from the books. So if you want to know the personalities of my cats, read The Way of Kings or Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson, and you'll pretty much understand my cats. What got you into reading manga? Honestly, all of you, all of my subscribers talking about manga and graphic novels so much. I love anime, and so it was kind of an easy jump to try manga at that point. It was a format I'd never tried, so I picked up the first volume of Fairy Tail because that was a story I was already familiar with, just because I purely wanted to test the format, to see if I could handle reading it backwards and all of the things like that that come along with reading manga. And it was such a pleasant experience that I started to explore other series that I hadn't necessarily watched the anime for, but had heard about. And so that's kind of how I delved down the hole of manga, and now I'm an avid collector, and I almost have an entire 5-shelf bookcase dedicated to my manga. And considering that's only a year and a half of collecting, and really like only a year's worth of collecting, I was kind of dabbling in the last 6 months of 2017. So I've really only spent 2018 collecting. So I feel like my collection is very impressive for a year's worth of time, considering like I don't buy on credit. I buy when I have the cash. So we're very blessed that way. And I've been able to get a great collection started. Any specific manga goals for next year? Laura over at the Manga Hoarder has this big like 52 challenges in a year kind of thing. But that's very daunting for a newer manga reader. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of like pare down her list and maybe add 1 or 2 of my own if I don't see them in her list, and kind of create my like new to manga challenge list and kind of go from there. There are certain genres that I know I'm not going to be comfortable with. Like horror is just not something I do well with. I don't do well with a lot of gore. About as much gore as I can handle is Rurouni Kenshin. And that's all very like related to swordplay. So like when it comes to like the psychological part of it, my anxiety doesn't play nice with that. So I just kind of steer clear of that. I steer clear of that in my books as well, not just manga, just because I know that my anxiety doesn't like it. And so I try to escape when I'm reading either manga or books. And so I try to not stir up all of that anxiety. Sometimes I do that accidentally just because I get so invested in a series, and that's a totally different thing. That's easier for me to calm down than if it's something like horror, thriller type. So that's just kind of a genre I stay away from. But yeah, I think I'm going to take Laura's challenge and kind of pare it down to something that's comfortable for me. Okay, next question here is from Steve over at the Lawn Gnome. He's a good YouTube friend of mine. He's great. We're doing some collabs upcoming, and it's going to be great. It says, looking back on where you are right now with your channel, what do you feel is the most important video you've ever recorded? I honestly think it's 2 videos. I think it's my 2 videos reviewing Orange. They are 2 of my like top 5 videos viewed on my channel, and the other one is my book to movie comparison of Howl's Moving Castle. Those 3 videos I am super proud of because I made them just because I wanted to, not because I felt like I had to. And they are some of my most watched videos on my channel. And so that was something that I'm very proud of, because that means the organic me came across enough that the people viewing the video really enjoyed the content that I was giving them. And that's made me super happy. It makes me excited to continue to review these more anime and manga related things, because there's 1.5 million book reviews for popular books. So I don't really touch the popular stuff anymore. For me, it's the more obscure stuff or the smutty romance that people are afraid to review on BookTube, even though there is a huge market for it. It's insane. But yeah, I think those would probably be my favorite ones on my channel, just because I made them purely for myself and they resonated with the audience that I was shooting for. So that just made me really happy. Okay, the next one is Bizarre Individual. He's a newer follower to me. I've only really found out about his channel since I started talking about 24-hour Tezuka. So it's only been a couple months, but we've become fast friends. We're both people that make friends fast. And he left me like 8 questions. So this is going to be a minute, guys. And again, I'm going to try to not repeat anything I've already answered. What is the main reason you are so happy all the time? I have strived very hard to cultivate a life that is as low stress as possible, allows me to do things that truly bring me joy. Being in a happy and healthy relationship is a big part of that. For those of you who are unaware, I was previously married. I was married to another man for almost 6 years on paper. We were living together, married for 5, and together a year before that. So we spent almost 7 years of our 20s together. And things were not good. We were not good for each other. I was not good for him because I was too independent, so I let him walk all over me in ways. He wasn't good for me for other reasons. Like, it was just bad on both ends. I was the one who officially ended things, but that was only because I was the one who had enough clarity to see that we were both miserable and that we had tried everything to make it work. We had tried living in a different place. We tried, moving further away from family. We tried counseling. Like, we did everything that we could have done to try to save it, but we both just weren't in a place where we could. We were never on the same page at the same time. I don't wish him any ill will, obviously. I hope that he's learned from our first marriage, our marriage together, just like I have. I know that, at least last I heard, he was remarried to somebody else, and I wish him all the best. But the difference in the relationship and how we work as partners is vastly different. Like, my husband and I, we have disagreements, but we don't like full-blown, like, knock down, drag out, yell at each other, fight. We never have in our almost 5 years. And that was almost foreign to me after my first marriage because we fought a lot. We were both just more contentious and hot-headed, and it just didn't work for us. Steve, my now husband, he's amazing. He's patient. He wants me to be happy and to be my happiest and best self. And so, we have activities that we enjoy doing in the same room, but we aren't necessarily doing them together. And so we get to spend a lot of time together that way, and that makes me really happy. If I want to go out with friends, he doesn't say anything about it. He's like, go, have fun. My husband, the one thing that I would love to do more is travel. But outside of that, it's just because my husband doesn't enjoy travel. It's never been his favorite thing. He stresses more when he's that far away from work. So he doesn't relax on vacation like I do because I can just shut everything off for however long I'm gone. But I'm hoping to take a couple of trips in 2019 to book-related things, so that's hopeful. But yes, I think the main reason why I'm happy all the time is because I've done everything in my power to cultivate a happy life. 2, what is your least, or do you think your least favorite manga type is? Probably thriller horror, because I will never really touch it because of my anxiety. Number 3, he says, personal, don't feel like you have to answer, but I am wondering. You read a lot of titles that my parents would think were of the devil, LOL. Why are you such a laid-back, open Christian? Or do you think other people are just too hard? Okay, with this question, I've been asked this quite a little bit. Like, I read smutty romance novels, and I'm reading titles that deal with demons and things like that. I think for me, it's very easy to draw the line between reality and fiction. And so for me, it's never been an issue of, oh, I truly wholeheartedly believe in this. No, I don't believe in all these crazy, kitsune or whatever that I'm reading about in manga. I think they're fun folklore, and they're just part of a story to me. They are not my real life or my real existence. And when it comes to the smutty romance stuff, again, it's easy for me to draw that line because I read a lot of paranormal or historical. I don't read a lot of contemporary smut. And the contemporary smut that I do, they're typically in vastly different situations than me. So it's really easy for me to separate what's real from what's fiction. And so I've never felt like what I'm reading affects my testimony in my gospel, in my church feelings. I still feel like God loves me. I feel like I'm making good decisions. Other people could look at it from the outside and think completely different, and that's their prerogative. But I honestly think that I am not ashamed of anything that I read. Embarrassed a little bit, maybe, just because some of the smut does get a bit graphic. And so that can be something that can be awkward to talk about at times, especially when it's more like crass, because then sometimes it just kind of feels icky. And when it feels icky, I don't enjoy it. So when it gets to those points, I typically just don't finish the book. And I usually don't end up talking about a lot of the books that I don't finish, because I don't want to go slandering an author's name through the mud for a personal reason. You know what I mean? When it comes to religion, it's a very personal thing. It's very much a relationship between you and God, the universe, whatever deity you believe in. It's a very personal thing. So I can't sit here and tell you how every Christian should feel, because everybody's going to feel differently about different things. Other people are going to be more sensitive or more vulnerable to things than I am. So it's so personal that it's hard to answer in general for Christians, just because there are so many Christian denominations that do believe different things that I can't answer for just blanket Christians. I do think part of it is generational. I'm sure if my grandmas knew what I was reading, they would be mortified. And my parents don't really say anything about it, but I don't know how closely they really pay attention to what I'm reading on a regular basis. So all I know is that if I'm ever feeling like a book feels icky, I just put it down and I typically don't talk about it. So that's how I'll answer that question today. Number 4, what is your favorite food? Give me Mexican food, anything deep fried and cheesy. I'm usually pretty happy, which is why I'm as big as I am. So moving forward in the new year, it'll probably be a lot more low carb kind of a situation. And typically we have a couple of meals that we love to cook that way. My husband's very much a keto diet activist. He loves the keto diet. He's been on it before. We love to make these Parmesan crusted steaks that are really delicious. And then we have a teriyaki chicken that's slathered in cheese and bacon that's pretty delicious as well. So yeah, keto works well because I get the greasy cheesy part. Number 5 is a little too personal. I'm not going to answer that one. Number 6, would you and your husband ever do a book video together? We have done videos together. I have a playlist of The Adventures of Stephen Shea. I'll try to remember to leave that linked down below so you guys can check that out to answer that question. Best part of owning your place and the worst. The worst is the lawn care. The best is the privacy. Number 8, a book that surprised you in 2018 or you didn't think you were going to like but did. I think, if I'm honest, I think the biggest surprise for me on like my top books of the year, which you'll be getting here in the next couple days, so spoilers for that, I think it's going to have to be Kingdom of Ash. I was really worried about that book coming into the conclusion. There was a lot of loose ends to tie up. I was afraid she wasn't going to do it well. And I love how that book ended. And again, it's like an 8th book in a series, so I'm not going to tell you too much other than I really like how she ended things. I'm really content with it. If she plays too much in the world after that, unless it's like generations later, I'm going to be pretty upset if I'm honest. Terrell Bellinger, looks like. It says, Merry Christmas. Hope you and your family have a great one. Here are my questions. What was your first YA fantasy series that you remember reading when you were in high school? I honestly took a sci-fi fantasy reading class in high school, and I think the series that stood out the most in that class was actually a sci-fi series. It was Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. I mean, think what you will about the author, but the book is brilliant, and the series is really great as well. So, when it comes to YA when I was a kid was like Sweet Valley High and Fear Street. Like, that's really what it was. So I read a lot more adult fiction than I did young adult fiction, because the young adult genre didn't really boom till Twilight. And by then I was 20. No, I was in my early 20s when I read Twilight. So take that for what you will. Let's see. If you could resurrect a beloved Harry Potter character who sadly killed off too early, who would it be? So many. I really wish Harry would have had one of his parents through the whole journey. But, I mean, I understand why she didn't do that. But I really would have loved if she would have had one. Otherwise, I mean, spoilers for Deathly Hallows if you haven't seen it yet. Or if you've been hiding under a rock for the last 10 years. Probably Hedwig. His one friend that was with him through everything did not make it to the end of the book. and I threw my book across the room. I was so mad when that happened. So probably that one. Can you pick 3 criminally underrated YA books that you wish deserve more recognition on BookTube? Okay, I'm just going to tell you 3 YA authors that I think deserve more recognition. One being Patricia Tai. She writes fantastic contemporaries. I don't know why more people aren't talking about them, but she's got 2 full companion series out. They each have 3 books. All of the books are brilliant. Definitely go check her out. After that, it would probably be Melanie McFarlane. She's done a middle grade series, a dystopian series, and then I think she's got another fantasy series, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyways, Melanie McFarlane is a really talented author, and I think more people need to pay attention to her work. Probably Dorothy Dreyer. Dorothy Dreyer has a really great fantasy series going on right now. I've reviewed the first book, so I will leave that linked for you. Check out those 3 authors. I think you'll really enjoy their catalogs. I think they're great. What's your favorite 90s TV show or movie? When I think of 90s movies, I think of While You Were Sleeping and Sleepless in Seattle, which I loved. And of course, all the Disney catalog. I mean, we got Beauty and the Beast in the 90s. We got The Lion King in the 90s. We got some good Disney in the 90s. TV show would probably be Boy Meets World. I was obsessed with Boy Meets World. It was the coolest thing since sliced bread when I was growing up. I loved it. Are you most looking forward to the Do I Have That Book Tag or Challenge video in 2019? I haven't looked at it for 2019. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I might. We'll see how things go. And what's the most disappointing book you've read in 2018? Probably, this is an unpopular opinion, but I DNF'd To All the Boys I Loved Before. Granted, I loved the movie, but I hated being in Laura's head in the book. She was so whiny, I could not handle her. So I DNF'd the book, but I thought the movie was really sweet. So I can understand why everybody loves it. Okay, next we have Gigi Luna, and it says, Merry Christmas. What kind of anime do you like to watch? Some favorites. So some favorites of mine are Sword Art Online. Yes, I'm liking the new Alicization arc. Yes, I was mad at episode 10. If you need a whole video dedicated to it, tell me down below. Because believe me, I could rant about that for hours. And believe me and my husband did. I love Fairy Tail. I mean, I will be with Fairy Tail till the end. I don't care how much filler was in that sucker. I loved it. Currently, I'm watching through One Piece for the first time. So that's been a fun adventure so far. We're almost through the first season. There's a lot of anime I really love. Ouran High School Host Club is a classic. Your Lie in April is a classic. And there's a lot of those romance ones that I really just love and adore. I love Kami-sama Kiss, Fruits Basket, Kimi ni Todoke, Eoharu Ride. There's so many. And Seven Deadly Sins is always fun. I really loved watching through the Naruto series. We skipped through a lot of the filler though on that one. Go to animefillerlist.com if you ever want to skip filler. Full Metal Alchemist has to be on this list. That is one of the most beautiful stories ever. Call. I could go on for a really long time. I have a lot of favorites. What video games do you like to play? What consoles do you own? So we kind of have a bunch of them. We don't really use our Xbox that we had anymore. I think we had a 360, so it's way outdated now. We do have a PlayStation 4, which I love. Persona 5 or Ni no Kuni 2 were probably my favorite games I've played on there. I recently got a Switch. I've got 3 games for that right now. I have Let's Go Eevee. I've got Little Dragon Cafe and Diablo 3, which I have played on the PS4 as well and enjoyed. We have a Wii. I like all the interactive games on that. And we do have really fast-paced computers, so we do play a lot of computer games as well. We do play World of Warcraft together, which is really fun. It's been a while since we've played together, so maybe in the next couple days we'll play a little bit. But yeah, so we just have a good time. I like to play. Generally, if I don't have to deal with camera control, I play better. With my coordination for my work, it doesn't work well with video games. It's kind of opposite. So doing camera control really throws me off with video games. Fun little thing that you might not have known about me. I believe it's a Masuke OJ. I think that's how you say his name. That's what I want to say. I'm sorry if I said it wrong. He has a lot of questions here. When did you get into manga? About 1.5 years ago. What series would you say made you a collector? Probably Fruits Basket. That's when I really started to be like, I need to own it all. Have you ever been to Japan? No, would love to go. Who is your favorite mangaka? There's 2 that come to mind, but I don't remember their names off the top of my head. Well, there's 3. because Ichigo Takano is always a favorite. They did Dream Sun and Orange, and then the creator for Princess Jellyfish, I can't remember her name right now, it starts with an A. And then the person who does Ancient Magus Bride and Frau Faust, which is Koriyama something. But those three mangaka I really enjoy. I've really enjoyed the titles I've read from them. How many volumes do you have? I did not count, but it's 4 full shelves plus half a shelf in my bedroom right now. So almost 5 full shelves of a bookshelf. How long have you been on YouTube? A little over 3 years. My first video was posted in September of 2015. Does your husband like manga? He's not really read a ton of it. He's mostly dealt with anime. He did read the first volume of Girl from the Other Side, and he did enjoy it. I think there's some other series that I own that he'll really enjoy as well, so I hope he'll dabble in it a little bit more. So I just give him a volume as he feels interested in reading it. He's not much of a physical book reader. He's more of an e-reader or audiobook kind of guy. So getting him to sit down long enough to read manga is a little hard. So who is your favorite Pokemon? I am an Eevee girl. Umbreon is my favorite evolution. The aesthetic of Umbreon is just my life, especially shiny Umbreon. So pretty. Who is your favorite Digimon? Can't lie, don't know. Digimon was never my jam because I got into manga so much older. Do you think physical manga will ever end? Man, I sure hope not. I really enjoy the physical, tactile process of reading manga. I find it way more enjoyable than reading it digitally. I have read some digitally, not a lot. Usually just like through a publisher or for review. But yeah, I love the physical format. I think it's really fun and I like being a collector. Where do you buy manga usually? There's a couple different places. I did try Right Stuff Anime. I didn't have luck with their shipping because for some reason they mixed my shipping address with my billing address, and so it wasn't an existing address, but I caught it before they actually shipped it out, so I just got it refunded, but I did not reorder through them because I needed something in a timely manner, and it was barely going to get there on time before the snafu, so I do plan on trying them again in 2019 to pick up some titles. When I'm looking for an older title that's harder to find, I tend to hit up thrift books. They're not always in the best condition, but I can at least get them to read them. And then Amazon and Barnes & Noble, because that's all I've really got here in Utah. There isn't a huge demographic for manga. I mean, if I had all the money in the world, I would open my own little, like, manga cafe so that people could come and enjoy all sorts of manga. And my cat just went behind my tapestry, by the way. So this is my Kaladin. He's my tuxedo cat. He's not very happy because I pulled him out from behind the tapestry. But he's a very moody but pretty boy. Let's see. What manga series would you say represents you best? Oh gosh. There's several. The ones that speak to my heart the most are Princess Jellyfish, Ancient Magus Bride, and Dream Sun. Those are probably the 3 running right now that just speak to my soul. They just make me happy. Next we have the return cart. It says, are there any manga you would like seen as an anime? Yes, Waiting for Spring. Give me the Waiting for Spring anime. Give it to me now. I just need it in my life. It would just make me so flippin' happy. Mary Baza asked, what was your first anime? My first anime was Sword Art Online. When my husband and I were dating, this is actually a sweet story, so I'm just going to tell it anyway. So when my husband and I were dating, let me back up one more step. In Utah culture, things like anime and manga and geeky otaku type things are kind of frowned upon in Utah society. It's a very conservative, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint oriented community. So a lot of people have these really harsh feelings. Oh, by the way, wotakoi would be another one I relate to. They have a hard time relating to people that do enjoy video games because they always think of the worst case scenario. Or when they think of manga, they only think of like the yaoi and the yuri and the very graphic stuff. They don't realize that there's a middle ground. And so they really just kind of close off. So my husband was really nervous to introduce me to anime at all, but that was a big thing for him. So he did introduce me to a couple of Ghibli films, just to make sure I liked the animation style, before he introduced me to Sword Art Online. So in that first story arc, Kirito and Asuna's journey really touched both of us in ways, and that was something he hadn't really shared with anybody else, and so it was a very personal thing for him to share that with me. And now he is married to like the most otaku woman he could probably find, and the most open-minded woman he could have found, is what he continues to tell me, at least. I think those are it, guys. Let me double check one more place to make sure I didn't miss any. Yeah, that's it. So thank you guys so much for sitting down and watching this video. I know it was a little long. I hope you liked getting to know me a little bit better through this video. If you have further questions for me, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and I will either shoot you a direct message if it's something on a personal nature, or I will happily answer you in the comments. So thanks again for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, you're a champ. I love you. I'm going to try to link everybody's links down below if I remember. Oh, there is one more question. It was from Jen Suze over on Instagram. Different folder, that's why I'm What has been your favorite book so far of the year? Stay tuned to the other video because I don't want to spoil that one. But if you've watched my channel enough this year, you could probably guess. But yes, if you made it to this video, you're a champ. I love you. Again, everybody will probably be linked down below as long as my memory stays intact until I get this video edited, because it's like 40 minutes long, people. It's a long one. So I'm going to try to pare it down as much as I can. But yes. So thanks again for watching. If you're new, please hit subscribe and click the little bell so you know when to come hang out with me. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.